Greetings, fellow scribes! Welcome back to the archive! This week, I continue my series on the races of AD&D 2nd Edition Spelljammer by talking about the Halflings. Halflings kind of took a different approach to everything. If you look at the other races, humans were too diverse to have a stereotype. Elves defied the stereotype. Dwarves doubled down on their stereotype. And gnomes created the stereotype. Halflings ended up being a little bit different, at least in their approach. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as we talk about the most mundane and down-to-earth race in Spelljammer, the Halflings. So the classic image of Halflings in D&D is, well, hobbits. It's what they were inspired by, and so that's what most people think of. Well, Halflings in Spelljammer, you have to start with looking at the two groups of Halflings on the ground. The mostly agricultural Halflings, they never really went into space. The Halflings that did go into space are the ones that lived in the cities, close to humans. The ones who built their communities within human settlements. And when humans started going in, the little curious Halflings went with them. And here's the thing. Halflings didn't change in space. They are still the sort of down-to-earth people you expect them to be. They're still the ones with the luck and stuff like that. But they found this unique niche in that, well, they're extremely dexterous. They're good at pilfering. But more than that, they're small. Yes, a halfling will eat as much as a full-grown human male or female, but they use up half the air. And because they're a small-sized creature, they kind of have this unusual place in the setting. And that is, when you're counting them for crew, each halfling counts as half a crewman. So that means if you had an all-halfling ship, you would have to have double the minimum crew. But if you had an all-halfling ship, you could have double the maximum crew. So, you have a crew on a 10-ton wasp or damselfly. And you can have 20 halflings on there. While halflings don't get any special advantages, and while I've never read of someone actually using an all-halfling crew, it has the odd benefit that you can have way more halflings than anyone else could bring to bear. So, what makes halflings interesting is the fact you can have more of them. You have, say, a 60-ton ship. You can have 120 halflings. Which makes me wonder why most halfling captains have human crews. Have mostly human crews. It's like, why wouldn't you take advantage of this advantage? Now, the halflings do have one ship that they build. And that's the thing. Halflings do not have any spacefaring nations, unlike the elves, dwarves, even humans. Halflings do not have, aside from the swan ship, any ships of their own. Any ships that are built by halflings. The swan ship specifically can land in water and in grasslands. So it's not going to land in most rocky ports or stuff like that. And, well, it is shaped like a giant 32-ton swan. Because, why not? Commonly used by humans, halflings, and elves. And a few other things. But, for the most part, halflings, they are no different. They do all the same stuff in the Spelljammer setting. They are not at all different from their groundling counterparts. I'm guessing because they are so grounded, pun intended, that they won't change their culture, etc., once coming into contact with space. And that is probably the most unique aspect of halflings in space. That they didn't change. Though there is a little side note. On the world of Kryn, halflings didn't come about. A very similar race called Kender did. And here's the fun thing. A Kender goes into space, they are very likely going to be mistaken for halflings. Even though they have a very different culture, kinda, sort of. But that's neither here nor there. That's just something I found amusing. And yeah, that is halflings. They are quite possibly the most mundane race in Spelljammer, simply because they didn't change. A halfling on the ground is the same as a halfling on the Rock of Brawl. Next week, I'm going to start talking about the unique spacefaring races with one of my favorite PC available races, the GIF. So until then, I'd like you all to remember to have fun and keep gaming.